please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome to Your Stocks. I'm Anisha Jain and with me is Nigel D'Souza. Good afternoon, Nigel. Well, it was going all good until and unless when the last hour of trade we saw that sudden slip coming in the markets led by the banking stocks. We have ICICI Bank, Yes Bank, Kotak Bank all coming under a bit of pressure, making the bank Nifty go into the red. And as we speak, Nifty just forward into the red territory. It's now at around 10,014.
Absolutely, Anisha. You said all of it. Really, the Nifty has come off the high point of the day. The Nifty Bank, that's a relative underperformer, and that's the reason, in fact, why the Nifty is moved into the red. When the Nifty Bank is down close to around 0.4%, around 0.5%, that's not giving the Nifty much of a choice. And also, if you pull up the advanced decline ratio, let's get up the crisscross lines. You'll see at one point of time, we had more than 1,200 stocks that were advancing in comparison to the number of stocks that were declining. Now they've kissed each other. In fact, we have more number of stocks that are declining in comparison to the ones advancing. We'll talk more about stocks. We have quite a few callers as well that are standing by. First up, running you through all the top stories. The market is at the day's low. The key indices trade flat, dragged by banking stocks. The mid-cap index and the Nifty Bank give up all their gains to trade well in the red.
Bharti Airtel and Bharti Infratel are among top Nifty gainers today after reports suggest that KKR-led consortium is close to buying the Bharti Infra Industar combined. Airtel surges 4% as analysts value its stake in Bharti Infratel at nearly 94 rupees per share.
And South Indian Bank's one-off provisions entered its second quarter, but the stock recovers from the low point of the day after the management tells CNBC TV18 they're confident that the worst is behind them in the corporate portfolio.
And Axis Bank gains today after CLSA upgrades the stock to a buy from out the firm. Heights target to 620 rupees, says valuations are attractive and the stock can re-rate as asset quality normalizes.
And the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, chaired by Vivek de Broy, holds its first meeting today amid the country's ongoing economic concerns. Okay, then let's introduce our guests. We have Shaina Mukaddam, who joins in to help us out with all the fundamentals. And in fact, we have Prakash Gaba as well with us, who's going to tell us about the technicals. Before we get our first caller in, Prakash, I remember last week you were telling us that, the Nifty is likely to face resistance at around the 10,060, 10,070, 10,080 odd mark, somewhere around there. Today we hit that mark, we went closer to that mark, and from there is where we saw a bit of a U-turn. What are the levels we're looking at? In terms of a downside, do you see support at some level? And on the upside, where's the resistance at?
Well, up move that we started around 9,700 had two targets. One was 9,990 and then beyond to 10,034 and beyond that to 10,074, 73 zones. It's hit the target today. So this is the ideal place for it to react if it has to. Tomorrow we have an FNO expiry, weekly expiry on Bank Nifty. Looks like, and today's bar that is generated tells me it's a reversal bar. It basically means we can see some slide down in Bank Nifty for a few days, maybe to around 1, maybe quite possible to around 10. The bounce area that we saw from 24,200 zones, quite possible it can come there. That would bring Nifty down for a day or two.
Okay, so Prakash says that the Bank Nifty can slide down further. But on that note, let's get in our first caller. Mitesh Shah joins us from Noida with a query. He has investments in Lakshmi Vilas Bank. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Good afternoon. Tell us, what is your question?
My question is that I'm holding Lakshmi Vilas for last 6 months. I purchased around 45 shares at a price of 185. Okay. So shall I hold it for a long time? I'm a long-time investor. I'm ready to be for the long time.
Okay, so the caller is ready to hold on to the for a long term. Prakash, what is your sense on this? The stock has been on a bit of downtrend today. I think the results as well are expected. What is your sense on this stock? He's
bought on a day, basically on a month where it has given a reversal signal downside. Now it's trading somewhere closer to support. This is not the place to exit. This is the place to hold. We might see a bounce. If you get a bounce, where does it go? 165 to 175 zones. That's the area to exit. The stock is not good. Looks like structurally it's weak. Any up moves would be a shorting opportunity. So I will take an opportunity to exit the stock if I see an up move.
Okay, we need to focus on the markets though. Just pull up the Nifty. 10,000 is gone on the charts. Let's pull up the intraday chart. You'll see that in fact the Nifty has breached the 10,000 odd mark. Reliance Industries, that's taken a leg down. Not good news. Big boy in there. When that falls, definitely we see a lot of selling pressure. You have a couple of these OMCs as well. BPCL and HPCL. Both of them were doing well. I remember a couple of hours back, both of them holding well in the green. A whole host of stocks, in fact, are cracking now. The Nifty Bank, When we started the show, we were down close to around 100 points or thereabouts. Now, in fact, it's down close to 200 points. So the Nifty Bank has seen further selling pressure. You know, SBI, you have ICICI Bank as well. I'm wondering whether the market's getting a little, nervous ahead of the CPI data. The CPI data is due, I think, tomorrow. And remember, in the last 1 month, we have seen that crude oil prices, that has spiked up. The second factor is that the rupee as well has shown some weakness. So, that's something that could be giving, market participants some nervousness. And that could explain why the Nifty Bank as well has been a relative underperformer. It could, we'll be looking out for that CPI number very, very closely. And the selling is not really relenting, Anisha. Just take a look at some of those mid caps. Chennai Petro, I remember that stock was in the green. That has fallen off. You pull up something like a KPIT Technologies. That stock as well. Intraday chart. Let's get those up for you on the screen. Not good news at all.
Well, yes, even I'm looking at some key stocks that are slipping in trade as we speak. We have IndusInd Bank, which is falling as we speak. Axis Bank is another one which is seeing a fresh knock coming. So we should pull up the intraday charts of those two stocks and see. We have others as well in the likes of Axis Bank, IndusInd Bank, Vedanta has been one stock which has been weak today. Z Entertainment as well should come up for you on the screen. So all these stocks are losing in trade as we speak. A sudden slide coming in all of these counters. However, what is holding up is one of the stocks is TCS. Remember, it comes out with its numbers today. That one is still fairly holding up in the green. Of course, we have Bharti Airtel and Infratel that have the support of some positive news, but even they are losing losing as we speak. So clearly, all of these stocks coming under a bit of pressure, Nigel. Let's see where does the support come at.
Okay, all right. I think we have, Mr. Deven Chauksi who joins us at this point of time. All right, I think we have Deven with us. Okay, all right. Hi, Deven. Thanks so much for joining in. What's going on? Is there some big selling that's come about? We were sitting comfortably heading towards the 10,100 mark. Or is the market getting a bit nervous ahead of that inflation reading that we're getting later this week?
Yeah, good afternoon. Well, I think after you guys flashed the news about U.S. conducting the joint strike with South Korea on the over the North Korea peninsula, I think that's where I think the market has started getting a little nervousness. Yeah. But I don't think that beyond that market has got any other negative news. And some amount of profit booking was expected, so which is happening. But beyond that, no negative news right now.
Okay.
And I mean, what's your sense on the Bank Nifty? That one too is down about 0.8% now.
Some amount of profit booking. Beyond that, I don't gather anything because I think from the dealing desk volume that we gather, I think some profit booking unwinding is taking place.
So, Deven, then you're going to be looking at this opportunity as a buying opportunity. What would you be looking to buy if it's something that's not so worrying?
Some meaningful correction in individual stocks would be definitely welcome opportunity for sure.
Okay.
We are a little more careful at this point of time ahead of the result season which is starting. We believe that I think in this result season probably we'll get opportunity to buy into the individual stocks which are having fundamental strength on the working side and the earning growth side. So I think we would be looking at some of the good quality stocks.
And these good quality stocks would be in which sector, Devin? Any particular sector that you're eyeing?
Individually, I think within respective sectors, I think you find opportunities. So certainly some of the opportunities in the auto ancillary, even the banking and non-banking financial space, I think we look at opportunity. Electrical equipments in capital goods segment, I think the opportunities are there.
Okay.
Individually mid-cap stocks, I think some of the good quality companies are there in different sectors. So yes, I think you should be seeing opportunities in different sectors.
Okay, all right. Focus on individual sectors. That's the word that's coming in from Deven Chauksi. Let's pull up some of those European markets. Let's see what they are doing because we have fallen close to 100% from the high point of the day. So it makes sense to pull up some of those European markets. The last time I checked, I think the DAX was still holding in the green. I think we should get that up for you in the screen. Well, they're more or less. So India clearly is doing a relative underperformance as we speak. And now we've corrected a near 90 points from the day's high. Deven Chauksi, well, he told us that in fact he's looking at entering stocks like maybe the auto ancillaries as well. If they provide a dip, it'll be a good entry opportunity. But Dipan Mehta as well joined in. Hi Dipan, thanks so much for joining in. What's going on? Is markets getting nervous about about the ongoing crisis in terms of what's going on in North Korea? Do you think it's some domestic factors as well at play? Because clearly this selling is not stopping, at least as of now. Sharp correction. Nifty, Bank Nifty, mid-cap index, all of them trounced.
Yeah, I know, and a bit difficult to explain at this point of time. I mean, the news about issues with North Korea is not new, and the market did not react like this even when the missiles were fired by North Korea. So
Right.
I think we'll have the reasons coming through a little later. This certainly doesn't seem to be technical. There is some news flow which is going around, which is not clear at this point of time. It could be global, it could be domestic, and all I can say is from experience is that whenever such selling pressure takes place, it is usually the FIIs who have pressed the sell button. Because as I can see from the screen that the fall is quite significant and with a lot of momentum, and volumes also seem to be picking up now.
Okay, Dipan, but what is your advice that you can give to a retail investor at this point of time? Should he hold on to his positions, or would you suggest to perhaps sit on the sidelines?
No, I think from retail investor point of view, always maintain that long-term markets look good, and they should be buying at corrections. And the last correction which we saw in the month of September also turned out to be a good buying opportunity, and markets turned around from that point and have given good returns. So I think that, such corrections should be bought into, but this one seems to be only gathering momentum. So I think, maybe not today, but if this correction deepens, then maybe it's a better opportunity to look at acquisition. But I'd just like to, put one more thought in the minds of investors that an earnings season is around the corner. And typically, I think it's best to buy after the company results are known. And because there's a lot of volatility around individual stocks when the earnings season is out and you get those 5-10% type of move post announcement of earnings. So you could get caught on the wrong side even in good quality stocks. So I would say go slow on any new acquisition, new purchases, and keep the powder dry and look to acquire good quality stocks post their earnings release.
All right, Dipan, just wanted your view on this. The Nifty Bank is underperforming. We have a CPI number that's due as well, the inflation number. The rupee has been a tad bit weak. Crude prices as well have spiked up. Could the markets be getting a little bit worried that we're going to be hearing a more hawkish sounding RBI? Is that one factor that could be playing out the way the Nifty Bank is underperforming?
Also, I think, Nifty Bank, in a sense, the banking stocks as well as the Nifty Bank position, I think people are generally overweight. And whenever you have such, selling pressure or any kind of fear or a kind of even a small risk of trade, then banks are the first positions that people are looking to liquidate, which is why we are always seeing that in corrections, the bank Nifty, which tends to underperform. And in reversal, other when the markets start going up, it is the bank Nifty which outperforms. So it is a leadership sector, and it has got, I think, a higher beta as compared to the Sensex and Nifty. But I think, inflation, interest rates, and all, I think those seem to have got discounted in most banking shares.
So we can get them up, but I think we should try to pull up the SBI futures. Let's pull up the futures. So the kind of open interest addition is really baffling, actually. Let's pull up the SBI futures plate. Let's try to get the ICICI Bank futures plate as well up for you on the screen. The kind of open interest build up over there, that's SBI. Yes, 45 lakh shares being added on the short side of them. And even ICICI Bank, close to around 35 lakh shares getting added. Rather large addition in terms of open interest. If you could get even ICICI Bank up for you on the screen. So just keep an eye out. Some of these open interest, these futures counters, the kind of open interest we are seeing built up on rather large counters is quite baffling. Important news coming in there, and that could be one of the reasons why, in fact, we are seeing a lot of selling on the Indian markets. It appears that the escalations have come about in terms of what's going on in North Korea. China says that US warships have entered its waters. I don't know whether or not we can cut across to CNBC, our international channel, in fact, try to get what's the latest there. But that's definitely not very, very good news. And that could be definitely one of the factors that has played its role. And the Nifty is back at the low point of the day. So keep an eye out on that front. Let's pull out some of those European markets. If this news is going to impact the entire globe, so we should see a bit of a knock even on the European markets. The last time we checked, they were more or less flattish. So keep your eye out on the screen. Well, let's try to pull in our next query. We have Vinita, who writes to us from Pune. She holds 125 shares of Goa Carbon at a price of 376. Long-term investor, should she hold or sell? Shaina, your take on this one?
The numbers were excellent, good numbers, volumes up strongly. I would suggest that the investor partly books profits. The simple reason, one, being that the stock rally has been very huge. From I think around 100 rupees in a short period of time, it's close to its 625 types of levels. And secondly, it's a very small company and valuations are expensive. If you take a EV by EBITDA on those bases as well as PE basis, it's pretty expensive. So part book profits, part you can hold for the longer term.
Okay, so the advice coming in there for Goa Carbon is part book profits and keep holding to part of it. Sitting at the low point as we speak, again a sharp fall coming as far as Nifty is concerned, around the 99.66 mark now. But let's move on and answer some more stock queries then. Shweta Mehra writes to us from Jaipur. She holds around 30 shares of Britannia at 3,004 per share since a year. She's a long-term investor and wants to know whether to hold or to sell. Prakash, I'll come to you on this. This one has given good returns. What do you suggest to do from this level? Book the profits or hold on?
Hold for long term. The stock that you need to buy and hold for a long term. If you get dips,
The screen, all the three frontliners, they are trading in the red. Remember, the Nifty has done a U-turn. So the India VIX should come up for you. That suddenly has spiked up close to around 16% from the low point of the day. So pull up the intraday chart over there. You'll see that the India VIX has spiked up. The crisscross lines as well. At one point of time, we had more than 1,200 stocks that were advancing. That's turned around, so that's not good news. But just keep your eye out on the Nifty because currently we're flirting with the 9,960 odd mark. We should get the DMAs up for you on the screen. The one that I'm looking at very, very closely should be up for you. The 50 DMA, that's going to be a rather important mark in today's trade. We have already broken the 20 DMA. So those numbers should be up for you on the screen. 9944, that's going to be a very, very important mark. So just keep your eye out on that front. There we have it, finally. 50 DMA, 9944. Watch out for that level in the near term. That should be a bit of a support for the Nifty. If we can defend that on the closing basis, the bulls will be rather happy just taking a look at the fall we've seen. 100 points off the high point of the day. We'll wrap up on this show, but do remember to keep sending us your queries on your stocks. For the time being, we'll wrap up. Closing bell runs you through the final hour of trade.